Hello everyone and welcome back to Arctic Retro, and in today's video I'm going to take a look at this Commodore VIC20 machine, and I'm also going to take a closer look at this Hyper expander cartridge for the VIC20. So I hope you are all well and are good on the way with your Christmas preparations. I am for sure. So this is one of my VIC20 machines, and it comes in this very nice Commodore computer bag, so I'm really proud of that. Anyway, let's take it out and turn it on. Here it is, and it's a very nice machine, and I can see that I made a note about what I did with it. I have cleaned it, retrobrighted the case, and put in some heat sinks in March 2019. And with it comes a RF modulator. That's an external one, because the VIC20, as you may already know, does not come with RF modulator built in. And I also got a video cable for SCART. I don't have the original power supply, but I have this, which is a more modern variant. It shows you the output voltage of the power supply and yeah, how long you have powered it on. And this is from Keylog, and it has been very good, and it works of course with the Commodore 64 as well. Alright, let's turn it on and see if it still works. You know, things could happen in 2.5 years. Yeah, still works. However, I can see that the picture quality is not very good, and that's one thing I'm gonna try and fix, because you can adjust a little bit on the video output. As you can see, the screen is more gray than white, and there are some lines here and some jail bars, and this has been clean, as I said, and yeah, it looks alright inside. So here's the video circuit and the VIC chip, and here you see two capacitors, adjustable capacitors. Yeah, I think this one is the one you can adjust for the picture. So let's see now if we can make it any better. Yes, as you can see. Yeah, you can see now that the white is white, and the lines on the sides disappeared. So now it's a lot better. And if I adjust the other one, which is it has a metal screw, so when I use a metal screwdriver it will probably cut out, but you're able to adjust. I'm just gonna turn on and off with the screwdriver in. So if I now turn this, you can see something is moving. I think, oh, there it cut out. Maybe that's adjustment for some syncing, I don't really know. So I think that is a good result. Colors are much better now. But that is not what this video is about. This video is about the Hyper expander cartridge. I'm gonna take a look at this one in more detail, and this is the Hyper expander cartridge, and this is a very nice cartridge to have if you have a VIC20 and you want to do some diagnostics testings, or you want to have more RAM, or you want to run some cartridge games. It is in a nice case, but I'm gonna remove that, otherwise it is a little bit difficult to to set the jumpers and to replace the EEPROMs. This cartridge was designed by Sven Petersen. As you can see, here is the GitHub address, and he has a lot of cool projects on GitHub. You should really check him out. There's a lot of things, not only for the VIC20, but for Commodore 64 and other machines. And everything he has on GitHub is open source. You can take the designs and the PCB layouts and everything, and Yeah, you can produce it yourself. And I actually got this from Sven, and yeah, it's a very nice PCB. I got it as a kit, so I have soldered this up myself. So right now the cartridge is configured with the diagnostics test cartridge on this ROM, but it has place for one more ROM, and thus it can address several different banks with these jumpers. And it also have the maximum amount of RAM that you can have on a VIC20, and you configure the RAM size with these jumpers. And it also has a reset button here. So let's see now if this works. I'm just gonna insert it into the cartridge slot. And it should now run the diagnostics test. I didn't connect the diagnostics test harness, but it will run some tests. So there you go. It does a ROM check that is bad. I have seen this on other VIC20s. I have no reason to believe that the ROM on this machine is bad, but the test says that it is. The EEPROM that's in now, it's containing 4 different ROMs, and now I'm gonna switch to the RAM test. I just move a couple of these jumpers to change what memory blocks the cartridge is gonna use, like that. So now it's running the VIC20 RAM expansion test, and I haven't configured any additional RAM on the Hyper expander, so it doesn't find anything, but I'm gonna change that now. And the RAM is configured via these jumpers here, and obviously you have to take out the cartridge to reach them. So now I'm configure it to use a maximum amount of RAM. So that is all these jumpers on, and this one to the left. So if I turn this on now, it should be able to see all the other memory banks. Yeah, you see now I found 3K at 400, 8K at 2000, 8K at 4000, 8K at 6000, and it's now testing the RAM. So what good is it with additional RAM if you can only run the RAM test? Well, of course, then you can disable this ROM and just remove those jumpers. And then it should boot into BASIC, and we should see the additional RAM. Yeah, there you go. It's 28,159 bytes free. Of course, of the 32K, some of that is used by BASIC. One of the ROMs on this EEPROM is in fact a Super Expander cartridge, and that is what you can use to give the VIC20 some extra power. And that means additional commands and things like that that the VIC20 doesn't have natively. So now we're gonna try and configure that. To use the Super Expander cartridge on the EEPROM, I have set all these 3 jumpers, and everything about this is very well documented on Sven Petersen's GitHub page, so you can find all the details there. So now we should get the regular VIC20 boot screen with the Super Expander additions, and yeah, the first thing you can do to check if you have the ROM running is to press the F keys, because they have some additional commands. F1 is graphic, F2 is draw, circle, paint, F2 is color, F4 is sound, point, and list. And those are basic commands that you don't find in the unexpanded VIC20. For example, now I remove the cartridge and I type graphic, and it just gives you a syntax error. The Commodore Basic V2 that came with the VIC20 and Commodore 64 was actually not very good. It lacked a lot of basic statements that most other basics had at that time, and yeah, even the older PET machines had a more rich basic language with the basic V4. So things like playing music or drawing graphics on a VIC20 is actually very hard if you don't have a super expander, because there's a lot of code involved, especially with drawing graphics, because you actually need to draw characters and redefine the character bitmaps on the fly, and that is very hard to do in BASIC, which runs way too slow to do such a task. However, with the Super Expander it was quite easy. So you get the commands like screen clear that you don't have on the original VIC to clean out the screen, and then we can make a little program here. Let's say you need to prepare for graphics mode by the graphic command. Then clear the screen, and then we change the colors to black and white. So now let's run this, see if it works. Yes, it does. So I changed the graphic command to graphic 1. That means multicolor mode, and then clear the screen, and then I set the colors, and then I draw a line with color 3 from position 10, 10 to 100, 100. So let's see now if this will work. Yeah, there's a line, it's black. I did assume that it's gonna be red, but that actually has to do with the color command on line 30, and when you are in multicolor mode, the colors used for drawing is defined by which mode you are in, and for multicolor you can use the values 0, 1, 2 and 3, so that number after draw is not actually the color, it's which color to use. So if I set color 2, which is red, with the color command, and then draw to select color value 1, which is the border color. So now we should have a red border and a red line. Yeah, that's exactly what we got. So let's try out the graphic mode 2, which is high res. Try and run the same program. Yeah, that is high res, not that pixelated. So now I want to draw several circles. Let's see if I can do that. So there's a loop, and it should run to 300 and step 10. So there should be 30 circles then. So I did a little mistake. There is no step command, and also there is no 2. So it's like that. You draw a circle with color 1 from position X, Y, and the width and the height. So let's see now. Okay, there's some circles coming out. So this is not very quick, as you can see, but at least it is graphics on a VIC20, and you can program it in BASIC. There is actually a step for next loop here. It must be on the same line as the 4. So I changed a little bit on this now. Let's see now. Circles. There's a lot of more commands, like you can draw points, and of course you can put text on a graphic screen, you can paint, and you can draw partial circles or boxes, and a lot of stuff. And you find everything about this in the user manual for the Super Expander, which you will find online if you Google. And it also has functions for reading the joystick, and if you have a light pen, you can also read that simply with a command in BASIC instead of using peeks and pokes and things that are not that obvious. Okay, that was it about the graphics, but there's also ways you can produce music and sound with Super Expander, and there's one nifty thing that's baked in, and that's you can go to music mode. And to enter music mode you press Control and arrow, and now you can type music with the keyboard. So there is no output on the screen while you type music. There's a octave selection if you press the O. And you have some sound register selection and also you can change the tempo. Yeah, you hear the difference on the same notes. But this actually means that you can kind of print music with using print statements in a program. So let's try out that one. To make music in a basic program, you just type the print command, the question mark, and then you press Control arrow, which I did before, first as the first character, and then you can type in some commands for what you are gonna play. That is changing the sound registers and the tempo and octaves and the notes you're gonna play. So I'm gonna type in a short program here. I'm not gonna show the typing. I'll be back when I'm done. I'm done with the program. Let's listen. Alright, so that's one way you can program music on the VIC20. Another thing you get with the Super Expander is the possibility to redefine the function keys, and if you type key you will see what the different function keys are mapped to, and then you can of course just go and change that. Let's say I want to have F6 as a run. Just hit return, and if we type key again you see that the F6 is now run, and if I press F6 it runs. So that was it of the extended graphics and sound capabilities of the Super Expander. I didn't show all the graphics drawing commands, but you get the point of what this cartridge can do. So here I am on the GitHub page for the Hyper Expander on Sven Petersen 1965's account, and yeah, here you can read up on all the different capabilities of this cartridge. I said it had up to 32 kilobytes, but it actually is 37, and it can hold two 16 kilobyte EEPROMs. So it is a superset of the original Commodore Super Expander, which I gone through, and that one had only 3K of RAM expansion. And if you go into the revisions, you can find all the documentation, the Gerber files and the bill of material files, and everything you need to order the PCBs and the components and build this yourself. And this is the project documentation, which is very detailed and yeah, well written. And it talks about the different jumpers and how to configure things and what not to do. And here I can see he has used these dip switches instead of jumpers, which is probably a better idea. And he goes through how you select the different memory banks and IC chip select lines on how to configure for different setups. And he provides different examples on how to configure. If you want to have different RAM sizes, and yeah, if you want to configure the two EEPROMs. Here's the layout of the PCB. Here's the circuit diagram. And here you find a functional description of how this works and different test setups where he explains how you configure and what the result should be. So this is a kind of a versatile cartridge, and one thing more you can do, you can actually download 16K games for the VIC20 and burn them onto 2 ROMs, and then you can have both ROMs installed and used as a 16K game that originally had, I'm not really sure if there were 2 ROMs in the original game or just one 16K ROM. So let's try this one. So to use these 2 ROMs you need to disable the RAM because it doesn't need it, and I don't think it will work if you have configured a full amount of RAM, and otherwise the jumpers are set like this, all 3 set. Yeah, there's Donkey Kong, and the reason the picture is all the way to the left is because this is an NTSC game, and to fix that you just use the cursor key. Alright, so let's play a little Donkey Kong. So I hooked up my joystick. I think it runs a little bit fast. I made it! Next level. Alright, that was a short walkthrough of the Hyper Expander, and it's a cartridge I really recommend if you have a VIC20 you want to play around with. So hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit the like button. So thanks for watching, and special thanks to my Patreons. See you, bye bye.